So the sermon title this morning is Varieties of Friendship, but there's a second part to the title that I didn't think would fit in the order of service, but I have to tell you what it is. Varieties of Friendship, or why do I have so many Facebook friends but no one to hang out with on a Saturday night? My first heartbreak wasn't the breakup of a romantic relationship. It was the breakup of my first best friendship with Lucinda. We'd grown up on the same street and we had a kind of default friendship. She and I were the only girls our age on our street, and we both had red hair. It was a match made on Warren Street. At some point, Lucinda started to make friends with another girl from another street, and they started playing tricks on me. It was mean-spirited, but I still took it as a major blow when she decided she didn't want to play with me anymore. I was inconsolable. I didn't understand how someone I trusted and liked could suddenly decide she didn't want anything to do with me. Seems it was a fragile friendship, unable to stand the pressures put on it by growing up. Emerson said, when friendships are real, they are not glass threads or frostwork, but the solidest things we can know. And although the friendship felt real to me, clearly it was made of glass threads because it broke so easily. In retrospect, I realized that my friendships, especially some of the ones that fell apart a little later in the years as well, were proximity friendships. Friendships based on living, studying, or working near each other. Proximity friendships can be very useful. They can entertain us and open doors to deeper friendships. But when the proximity is no longer enough to hold you together, there needs to be something more there. Proximity friendships are usually the first kind of friendships we make because that's what we do. We go to school with other kids, we see the kids in our neighborhood, and we make friends with our parents' friends' children's. These kids are easy to meet, and we have one important thing in common: consistent physical presence. We don't need to know much about each other to be in proximity friendships. We make them as we age too. The work friends we only hang out with at work, or the neighbors we only speak to as we walk to and from our houses, or the church members that we see on Sunday morning but don't make plans with outside of the church. Proximity friends in adulthood are called acquaintances. We make any number of these friends over the course of our lives, and some people even collect them, counting everyone they meet as a friend. This bizarre kind of proximity friendship is built on this capitalist assumption that more is better. Acquaintances fill up our Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr feeds with miscellaneous nonsense that we never read and don't even care about. We still call them friends, but what do we share with each other than an electronic network? The truth is, I have 563 Facebook friends, and on any given day, I only interact with 4 to 25 of them. I'm really judicious about accepting new friend requests too, so I don't have any extraneous people. I'm a part of 31 groups, but all but one of them are Unitarian Universalist groups. And most of these friends, most of the 500 friends, are former proximity friends, and now just acquaintances that we see photos going by and have no interaction otherwise. But I have made real and true friendships via the internet, building real supportive friendships with other UU ministers in their internships across the country. We don't have proximity in common, but our friendship still works. So what is it that makes solid, strong friendships? The three elements that I think are really important are shared interests, candid honesty, and mutual support. With these three elements, friendships will flourish. Proximity friends usually relied on shared interests alone, but once you start to trust each other with candid honesty, you can start to move the friendship towards a deeper connection. Learning to trust people with your secrets, though, is very difficult, especially after you've been hurt. But we need to be able to be open and honest about the things we do with friends if we're going to have sturdy friendships. According to Brené Brown, I've heard a lot of her since I've been here, true belonging only happens when we present our authentic, imperfect selves to this world. And Gina Sangari expands on it when she says, we all need to find someone safe and supportive, authentic and grounded to become friends with right now, so we can tell them what's going on. If we don't do this, we can't have safe, authentic, grounded friendships. We have to have them to have a good life. We have to be also that safe, grounded, authentic friend to others as well. We need mutuality for any kind of friendship to become real. Real, like the velveteen rabbit with our fur rubbed off, all exposed and vulnerable. In his infamous book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie said, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. We need the support of good friends, but first, we need to be good friends. We need to be interested in their lives and what's going on as much as we need them to be interested in us. Good friendships are a two-way street. Both give and receive with mutual support and respect. It doesn't have to be balanced at every moment. Clearly, it's not going to be balanced at every moment of the friendship, but we can give and take as we go along. Today, I might have a problem that you can help me with, and tomorrow you may need something from me. But the generosity of spirit that comes from close friendships is the knowledge that no matter what, thank you, the other person will be there helping you, and you'll be there for them. I'm just going to take a sip here. In his novel, James Lessines shows how much we would give for a true friendship. And this is a direct quote. This is how it works. I love the people in my life, and I do for my friends whatever they need for me to do for them, again and again, as many times as necessary. For example, in your case, you always forgot who you are and how much you are loved. So what I do for you as your friend is to remind you who you are and tell you how much I love you. And this isn't any kind of burden for me because I love who you are, and I love it very much. Every time I remind you, I get to remember with you, which is my pleasure. The pleasure of remembering who your friend is, of knowing and connecting with them. There's such pleasure in helping friends, even when it's not easy. When we love someone the way we love a true friend, it's natural to want them to be happy. Like the little prince learns from the fox. When we tame each other, we're responsible for each other forever. One of my very favorite stories from childhood is Winnie the Pooh, and my favorite character in it is Piglet. Piglet is a soft-spoken, kind little fellow, and generous of heart and soul. He's sensitive and kind, and I just adore him. When his best friend Pooh is having a bad day and doesn't feel like himself, Piglet tells him, there, I'll bring you tea and honey until you do." Piglet is willing to sit in the mud with Pooh Bear bringing him tea, never leaving until he can help him pull him back to his feet. This is the important kind of friend. This is why we have friendships, to support each other through the hard times and make life a little easier with laughter and a listening ear. Once you've made deep connections with a person and you truly are friends, sometimes your friendship is tested by distance. Perhaps your friend moves far away or you move far away from them. Maybe you started a family and they're single, so your lives are now different in those ways. You're still close when you talk, you still trust each other with whatever needs doing, but there's no longer proximity in your friendship. This friendship is spread across space and time, but still close. You think about each other, wishing you could be together, and because of this, you're still connected, no matter the distance. As Thoreau believed, nothing makes the earth seem so spacious as to have friends at a distance. They make the longitudes and latitudes. Knowing you have friends out there at a distance makes this world seem larger. Social networks have been a great tool for connecting people at a distance. I've become friends with people and have remained friends with people who have moved to Germany and Japan and Australia. But there's a downside to social networks. You see what your friends are doing, and you start to wish that you could be doing it too, and you start comparing. Wow, what they're doing is so much more interesting than what I'm doing. And this phenomenon just makes people feel lonelier after trying to connect, because they're not with the people they want to be with, and their lives, what they know of them, don't seem to be as interesting as those they're connecting with. But it tells us something important, I think. There's more to seeing what's happening in someone's life. Friendship is about shared experiences, honest communication, and mutual support. It's about knowing that we are seen and understood. Deep, true connections with people are what make life worth living. Now, you'd think that deep connections with great friends have to be built over time. And yes, this is very much the case with most people, and particularly if you're moving from a proximity friendship to a deeper friendship. But it takes time to build trust and give and take that's required. And there are also those inexplicable moments when someone just walks into your life and you know immediately that you are meant to be friends. Jim Henson said, "There is not yet a good word for friends, old friends who have just met." How do we know that someone's going to be our friend when we just first meet them? Kind of sounds like love at first sight, which is indefinable and probably often people think it's kind of dubious that happens, but it's happened to me, the friendship part anyway, several times. The feeling of being known and knowing in a way that you don't experience in most first meetings. Somehow your friends will know you better in the first minute you meet than your acquaintances will know you in 1,000 years, because true friendship built in moments can have more connection than any number of Facebook friends can have over years. With true friendship, no matter how long it takes you to get there, the physical distance between you doesn't matter. When you're in a room together, it's as if you were never apart. As long as we remember that we are connected, no matter how far apart we seem, we will still be true friends. But sometimes friendships end. Most often, friendships end because of an emotional distance. Sometimes people, like trees, grow apart, their branches moving in opposite directions, blowing in different breezes. But growing apart doesn't change the fact that for a long time, they grew side by side, and your roots will always be tangled. We always carry with us the people who shape our lives, even when we don't talk or connect or even like each other anymore. We have been shaped by each other. Even though when I finish my internship at the end of the month, I'll need to keep my distance from you next year, I know that I have been shaped by you, and I will carry you with me into my next and future endeavors. If I could choose how you would remember me, I would want you to remember these things. We are all connected. We are better people when we're in community, and no matter who you are, no matter who you love, you are worthy of unconditional love. I'll leave you with these words from Henri Nouwen. When we honestly ask ourselves which person in our lives means the most to us, we often find that it's those who, instead of giving advice, solutions, or cures, have chosen rather to share our pain and touch our wounds with a warm and tender hand. The friend who can be silent with us in a moment of despair or confusion, who can stay with us in an hour of grief and bereavement, who can tolerate not knowing, not curing, not healing, and face with us the reality of our powerlessness. That is a friend who cares. May you be the one who cares. May you have someone who will sit with you in silence. And may you know the comfort of being deeply known. May it be so.